Josh,
Right here.
are you using the trendy term, it's fire?
I can't say I am.
Well, maybe we or you should consider using it's fire, even though it has many other meanings, which we're going to get into right here, right now. Podmax podcast.
Welcome to the Podmax podcast.
Yeah, we'll fix all that in post. Don't you worry about it.
I forgot the name of our show. Josh, so it's fire, right, is a thing that everybody's saying, and I have incorporated into my vocabulary of recent. But didn't you literally tell me and call me from the front of the building getting into the studio that something was happening?
Yeah, I show up to the studio this morning, and right out front, there's about 12 firemen in full gear and uniform, 3 fire trucks parked out in front, lights twirling, and they're knocking on the door. I mean, I always love that. You always think that because, our door is locked by key fob. And I just always imagined that firemen had some magical way to get into, I don't know, a locked door should the alarm be going off. But no, they had to wait for me to stroll up with my coffee. Hello, guys. Is everything okay here? What can I do for you? I'm here to serve. How may I help? Do you need to get into? They're like, yeah, come on. And I'm like, okay, may I go into the building too? Don't know Josh, why I speak like that when I'm around firemen all the time.
It's the 50s whenever the firemen show up. It's that mid-Atlantic. But anyway, yeah, so Josh calls me from the studio and he's like, hey, listen, bro, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. And I realized you're in the studio. So I'm like, where are the firemen? You're like, I don't know. They're walking around the building. And I'm like, is it safe for you should you be talking to me from the studio?
No clue.
Yeah. And then it made me think like how I've recently started using that term. Fire can mean many things, obviously, but the term is funny how like it's fire. We'll see how long it lasts. I know Cary uses it all the time. I don't know if it's still trending. I could, I'm a dad of 2, so things hit my radar way late.
So you mean like once you get wind of something, it's like they'll like if I feel strongly about something, an idea, a person, an event, I'll say to you, yo, it's fire. Yeah. Is that the use? Is that the proper use?
That is the use. Yeah. If I guess it started, maybe it shortened from it's catching fire.
Or it's on fire.
Or it's on fire. No, but I think like people, like the one I never liked was it's off the chain. I'm like, shut up with that. It's off the chain one.
I've never really heard off the chart.
But I'm okay with it's fire. It makes sense to me. It's catching fire. It's getting big. It's massive.
Is that kind of like crushing it? Like everybody says crushing it?
Yeah, that's kind of old, right?
Is it still old?
Is it still? I don't know, but
it is.
Yeah, crushing it is definitely old. I mean, that book, the first one, it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. But yeah, it's funny. We should get into the lexicon and trends of language and what the kids are saying. But
because we're not kids anymore, right? We are literally pushing 50, which is crazy when you say those words.
How dare you?
Pushing 50, I know. It's true though.
It's crazy
true.
Turning ourselves
50-year-olds.
Turning ourselves in. So as we get into it, let's also get into our segment here. Pro in the Know.
Pro in the Know.
Before we get too far in, we should just mention what we have coming up this week on the Podmax front, shouldn't we, Erik?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. So, folks, if you haven't participated in anything Podmax yet, we do have a free networking event, and it's called The Mixer.
And it's
Podmax
fire.
Mixer. And it's fire. Trust us.
It is.
And people, it's so hot. People's eyes well up and tear up because there's so much going on. But yes, the Mixers each and every Friday. If you go to podmax.co/mixer, it's a free networking event. You get an opportunity to meet our community, to hang with me and Josh and the team. It's just a wonderful experience and a get to know. So we're hoping that you are able to join us, but we more would love to see you at our main event. That's where all the magic happens, and that's where it's fire. Truly just crazy. I see the theme here. Rob, of this theme and title of the show. But yeah, our event, June 11th, is coming up. So please go to podmax.co, check that out. We've secured 3 wonderful keynotes, one in Zach Knight, one in Maribel Lara from VaynerMedia, and another with Steve Sims of Blue Fishing. So if you look any of those people up, they're fire. I'm just gonna knock this thing all around, and you're gonna get tired of hearing the word. But it's going to be awesome. We want to see you there June 11th. Please sign up. And here's the wonderful thing, Josh, that we have not announced. So it's official now, going to be official. If you buy a ticket, if you go to the website and you see there's 3 opportunities and three levels. If you buy the elite or the all-star level, we will gift you one for you to gift. So if you buy elite, you'll get 1 level down, which is pro. You can hand that to a friend, a partner, strategic partner, a client, or worth over $1,000. So you're actually giving that to someone. So you'll be the winner. And then if you buy the big package, which is the all-star, you'll get an elite program and ticket to offer to your community. So we're hoping that helps and helps you to build and grow what you're trying to do. But yeah, we just want more. The more the merrier. June 11th, buy one and you'll get another ticket to give.
That's right. And at the end of the day, you're there to get on some shows. You're going to be recording as a guest on 3 shows that day. And 2 of the ticket levels will get you on additional shows after the event, because really that's what we excel in, right? Helping you identify, craft, and deliver that meaningful message, and then finding you the right places to get that message heard far and wide. Podmax.co right now gets it done.
So yeah, let's get into Pro in the Know here. So we already played our little wonderful segment here by our producer, Rob. But what is really interesting, and we're going to talk about HubSpot here. So for those of you, most of us know HubSpot as a CRM. Business owners, you know, it's always in a conversation. What CRM are you using? I'm using HubSpot. I'm thinking about using HubSpot. People also know them as an educational blog. They have their own HubSpot Academy, you know, offer tons of educational content. And some of that content is all over YouTube. So you may know them through that as well. So I just want to highlight something that happened months ago, back in February, and then I'll bring it to the now. In February, HubSpot acquired a media company called The Hustle. And what The Hustle is exactly that. They're a media company that produces newsletters, podcasts, have their own community, premium content and research within the industries. And they bought that for HubSpot's community. So HubSpot saw, and they have all the back end data, their community wanted to know more about the podcast industry. So they're like, oh, how do we help them? Why don't we buy something that offers a ton of content on podcasts specifically? So they bought The Hustle back in February 2021. Now, fast forward to May of 2021, months later, and they've announced they're starting a podcast network, Josh. Right? A podcast network. And the podcast network includes such popular shows as John Lee Dumas's Entrepreneur on Fire. I'm sure many of you have heard these shows, like Business Infrastructure, Being Boss, Martech Podcast, and the Salesman Podcast. And the other one is My First Million. So what I've noticed here, Josh, and I just want to highlight why they've done this, and you also have a lot of stuff to share on this. Strategically, if you think about the avatar and the listeners in the audience of those shows, those are HubSpot avatars. Those are HubSpot customers. So they made sure to pull in and create a network to like catch fire, to make sure everyone knows what HubSpot is. Now everyone that's in those communities and listeners of those shows, they've just bought 1 million plus listeners and followers.
This is what I appreciate about them, quote unquote, starting a network, finding ways to establish a network, is because there are so many strategic ways to mold that, which is always what I go back to. at the foundation of running a show. There are so many ways when you create a podcast to make it your own and creatively put your spin on it. And now we're seeing that building a network is not necessarily a specific thing. You can use it for different strategic reasons. You can take different approaches to it. I was quite surprised and like almost excited that John Lee Dumas's show, Entrepreneurs on Fire, is one of the shows that they went after and secured. Really surprising that he would take that route, but I guess it made sense for his goals and their goals. So thereafter, like you said, they're trying to strategically find ways to reach their target. So case in point, for us tuning in, you must know exactly who you want to speak to through your show, and then find ways, whether through your show or strategic partnerships, aka advertising or bringing them into a network under your roof and speaking to them, because that's how they're using their network as a strategic move to reach an audience that could buy their products and services.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant move. And what we're starting to notice, if you pay attention to the landscape, right? And all the moves, these chess moves that companies are making outside of the podcast industry. Outside, HubSpot had no stake, had no play, had no irons in the podcast fire. Now they're like, we want to play. And we understand. So what I want to highlight is, if you're paying attention, yes, you see these headlines, but if you watch them over time, you're seeing their business strategy at play. So Josh and I and Meredith and the team, we have created business strategies like our 2021, our 2022. That's what we're seeing play out in real time. So if you could take those pins and put them on the map, it's like, oh, domination. It's awesome. I love watching it.
What about our talk of a network? You want to gloss over anything there?
Josh and I have very slowly, because there's so many irons in the fire. There's so many things that's going on. So we always have to put things in the back. But yeah, the Honor Brands Network is something that we've been working and plugging at very little at a time since 2019.
Oh yeah. One of our first conversations has been about a network of shows.
Yeah. We literally created marketing materials and announced it on stage, a physical stage. And we're like, hey, everyone, you're part of the network. And then, 100 other things happen. We're like, yeah, we have to put that in the back burner. So yeah, it's always in shape and in motion, and we're always molding it with the hopes of very soon making it official for all of our podcasters and all of the people that want to get on those podcasts to sort of be a part of the network.
Well, and what's amazing is we've been doing even the virtual PodMax event, which is coming up on 1 year anniversary in 3 days, by the way, from the time of this recording. May 22nd is the 1 year anniversary of our first virtual PodMax event. But we have so many, at least 24 shows that have become friends, fans, colleagues, partners in every sense of the word. And they just keep coming back to our events, and we keep building things with them. So we're just going to formalize this in one way or another very soon.
Yeah. So always be on the lookout. Keep your ear to the ground. Speaking of, let's move on to our next segment. What do we have to hear in the next segment?
Build it, and they will come.
So we are fortunate enough to have a stake in and be heavily involved in one of our strategic partners in a real estate conference, the first live one. That's what our buddy Chad Gallagher is putting out there. So it's going to happen in June, at the end of June 25th to the 27th, and it's happening in Pennsylvania. And it was supposed to happen a year ago. And I agreed to MC the entire event. And now that it's happening, no more delay, I think there's over 700 to 800 people that said, yes, they are coming, which is exciting. So we're getting back into the groove of what we were doing last year, early. And I just wanted to highlight, well, the team's going to be there. Our brand, our personality, everything we do will be at this conference in a major way. And I wanted to talk to you, Josh, and the audience about how you can, I don't want to use I'm not using the word fire anymore. How you can incorporate, partner, and embed in another brand to get bigger. Because now you're reaching an audience that you normally wouldn't have, just like you do when you guest on a podcast, except now at a conference, you can form deeper relationships and create more visibility around what you're doing. If you become a sponsor or a partner or some way, shape, or form, figure out how to get your team to add value to that community. So Josh, you want to talk a little bit about how we did this before and what we did when we were live at a conference?
Yeah, this was in either late 2019 or very early 2020. You brought me with you guys to another investing conference, and we basically had a PodMax presence in the sponsor hall. And what we creatively did is we set up shop like a PodMax event, and we allowed attendees to set up little 15-minute interview spots where I would interview them, and they would just get a taste of being interviewed, being on a show, what PodMax is. And it was a massive success on that level. But you also, in our production meeting this morning, Erik, you also brought up an interesting point that there were about 5 of us on the team that were there all staying together. And you pointed out how that was a pivotal moment for us all just to grow closer and connect further.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. I'm a firm believer and a big advocate of culture and building culture. And I have a good amount of experience doing this within corporate America and building teams. And I was talking to you about how difficult it is now with everything being virtual, and we're doing it with some success, obviously, because our team is growing. But there's nothing that can replace shaking hands, hugging people, spending time in an Airbnb or a hotel day after day, and being in an office day after day. Now I love virtual. I'm home right now, but at some point, just to take any relationship further, you have to be face to face to take it to the next level. I'll liken it to dating. Back in my day when there was Match.com. I don't know what the new trends are, but you could go all day long on a virtual thing and chat, but you eventually had to have dinner. You had to have drinks together in order to take the relationship to the next level. So that's building culture for me. Yeah.
So we're going to embed next month at the event, and we're going to grow closer as a team also. And we're going to get our word out there even more and allow people to experience what we do, which is helping you identify, craft, and deliver that message. And then we help direct you where to deliver the message on shows, take those appearances, chop them up, put them on social, because, you need the plan, right? You need the strategy and the implementation of it. It's a long game. If you're going to get on shows, it's not just one or a few. You want to start seeing the traction of it get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're looking forward. If you're in the area, you're interested in investing, check out realestatehackersconference.com. We will be there physically, June 25th to the 27th. Love the team, to meet you and greet you and potentially get on. We're recording shows live there, so you'll potentially get on our shows as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're really excited about that. What do we have coming up on the next segment? Have you ever?
Here we're talking about something from our week that may or may not have happened on either side of the mic, either as our experience as a host or a guest, and then we debate it through. Today we're talking about from the show host point of view. Have you ever broken up your show into seasons? Now, this is an often discussed topic, especially from newer hosts who get to a point where that comes into their awareness and they're saying, oh, I see other people doing seasons. Should I do seasons? Is there a benefit? What does it mean? How do I do it? Where do I go from here? We have experience doing it on some of our shows. What do you say, Erik?
It's a good strategy for those who want to try something new. They want to experiment. They want to pivot to not necessarily end your show, right? Because we know a lot of people in our network, in our community that said, I don't align with this show. I've changed. I'm going to kill it and start another one, only to go back maybe to the show. I think it's a wonderful way to experiment and play, because now you have an official, even if it's a conscious or subconscious sort of break to say season 2, and you tell your audience, we're trying something new and we're gonna end the chapter here for this particular theme of the show, and look forward to season 2 because we're going to be doing this, or I'm going to be doing this. So I think it's a great way. It works for obviously serial type of shows, right? Where they're telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
But for entrepreneurial and business shows, there's ways to leverage it. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that if there's no real just reason and you're your own weekly or similar show and you're going about your business and nothing really has changed and there's no break, then just keep piling on the episodes. But if you can see or justify a reason, like Erik pointed out, for our On Air Brands live show, for example, hosted by Todd Genitasia and Amber Furman. It used to be for over a year, a weekly roundtable style show that had a few hosts along with Erik and me. And then we changed that format, but kept the show. So it only made sense to start new seasons. And even under that, guys, Todd and Amber, Amber just came on recently. So when we were doing it with Todd, we did a handful of shows with me, Erik, and Todd to sort of segue into the new format. That was a season. And now Todd and Amber are running the show on their own. That's a new season. So if you can find a reason, it might make sense. I don't know if there's really a make or break aspect to it. I don't know if you're going to win or lose based on doing it or not. But if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah. Definitely think of it as a way. I don't want to say a way out, but there's a way, like I said earlier, to play, to experiment, to potentially pivot. And if you like it, you keep it as season 2, or even create another season 3, and now start thinking about your things in buckets.
And what are we doing with this very show was created 20 plus episodes ago, and we've kept to this exact format, but now we've had conversations.
Yeah. So as we're speaking, Josh and I are formulating what season 2 looks like for this show. So as you know and love it, yes, there'll be elements of it that will continue on, but there are certain things that we're going to sort of mold and shape to make it better, not just for us, but for the listeners. And we want to lean into our strengths. Josh and I love to be spontaneous. We like to play around, and we've noticed that this format is not allowing much of that. So we want to sort of bring that element back and better in season 2. So be on the lookout, pay attention, and show up for season 2. Most likely will be happening
within 2 months. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
What's interesting about you saying that is that it just shows that if you're running your own show, you have the ability to acknowledge, you know what? I'm just not happy with this format. I'm not excited anymore. I've lost the passion or interest. I'm, dare I say, bored with this. You could say any of that with no harm and say, you know what? But I love doing a show. I don't want to start from the beginning. I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel. It's still me. It's still me, under this brand. I like it. I've already established a following. Let me take a break. Let me figure out what format I want to do. That's what we're going to be doing in season 2. We're looking to bring back interviews and guests. We're looking to do different things, but still under this show. So don't be afraid to be aware and to be honest with yourself. And instead of throwing in the towel, figure out how you could pivot, adjust, and segue into what might just be a different season of the show. Nothing wrong with that.
You point out something that refreshed my memory. When I'm talking to clients, a lot of them, most 8 or 9 out of 10 aren't sure if podcast is the best solution for their marketing strategy or whatever they're trying to do in their business. And I often say, why don't you try a season, or we will create a season for you, 8 to 10 episodes, maybe 8 to 12 episodes, and we'll call it season 1. And then we'll review after that. We'll see if you like it, if you love it, you've seen some, return on your investment. So it's a great way for you to sort of kick the tires and see if it's for you. It's not for everyone. Just start the show and know that, okay, I have in my mind a marker that I'm going to hit. Maybe it's 50 episodes, maybe it's 12, whatever it is. Call it season 1. And then you can, and what's great about that, Josh, is you're able to pause and take a break. That's the thing with podcasting is we don't take breaks. Josh and I are not here next week, but the show must go on, right? So what do? We bring on wonderful team members that are ready, willing, and able to jump in and take our place. So seasons, or that, many different ways you can approach taking a break or doing something else while you have to go build something else. But it's all good.
Instead of, I do want to reveal what we're doing. So we're not going to be here next week. Erik and I have another commitment. We're going to be attending an all-day workshop. But in our place here, instead of going dark or holding no episode or showing a repeat of an episode, we're having Larry Roberts and Rachel Sparrow co-host in place of us, our show, next week. So make sure to tune in for that.
Yes, they're awesome. And Josh and I already noticed through our mixers and our events, there was a little chemistry. There's something there. They should continue the conversation. We're like, oh, how cool would it be to see how they play together? And we'll all get to see it in real time. I mean, Josh and I will see it after the fact. But it's going to be good stuff. So looking forward to that next episode, episode 21 of the PodMax podcast.
And you, of course, already know Larry in a variety of ways. He's been with us for quite some time, including co-hosting our most previous PodMax event while Erik went undercover boss and went through the event as a guest. It was me and Larry hosting the deal there. But also Rachel Sparrow, you've gotten to meet a couple of episodes ago. She was live with us here in studio. And as we've said, she is now running the PodMax talent division as our main talent coordinator. She's incredible. PodMax Talent is our take on the traditional booking agency. We always thought that it left a little to be desired as both a host and a guest from what we were seeing from that industry as hosts. And we said, if we're going to do it, we gotta make some deliberate and specific changes as PodMax can do. And that's really what we're doing. So we're sort of underway there with a handful of clients coming through. But again, it's our take on the traditional podcast booking agency done PodMax style.
Love it. Love it. So let's recap the show and then bring in the OAB team to give us a taste of what's to come. So Pro in the Know, we talked about the first major, well, to me anyway, company outside to start making moves, and HubSpot made a move to acquire a media company to get into the podcasting industry, and then several months later created their own podcasting network. So we are watching and we're paying attention to all those with these moves. And they with that, they've bought a bunch of shows that we love, like Entrepreneurs on Fire and My First Billion, or I forgot the name of the show. But now we go to what did we talk about in Build It and They Will Come, Josh?
The fact that live events are slowly starting to come back, and we're going to be coming back with one. Erik's going to be emceeing the Real Estate Hackers event in a few weeks. We're going to have a PodMax presence there, and hopefully it's going to get our word and message out to the people further, but then also continue through our team in person to grow and nurture that culture, as Erik pointed out, has been in your history for many years in corporate America.
Yeah. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing anyone that heard this show and come up and introduce yourself. We're happy to join and create a conversation, especially with the mics on. And have you ever, wonderful conversation about seasons and the reasons you can or should, or strategies on why creating seasons could be beneficial to you in your business.
There you go. Now, let's move right over to what's coming up at the 12 o'clock Eastern hour as we segue into, like you said, the On Air Brands team. It's the hosts of the On Air Brand Live show. It's Todd Genetasio, Amber Furman, week after week.
Yo. What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
Never gets old. I love that Amber's got a new little red pop thing going on.
Wow.
What's up?
Right? It's always there. You just haven't been able to see it.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's so much in life that we could talk about that. And it's been there the whole time. You just haven't seen it. It's like every 80s movie I've ever seen. It's like, oh, great.
Yes. I'm going to turn the rest of me black and white, and then all you're going to be able to see is my red microphone. Right. It'll be like a black and white picture that like, this is it, that has that one piece of color.
That'd be so cool. So what's coming up?
Guys, first, I just have to say, I love you. This is coming from a place of love. But you guys talking about the catchphrases, I mean, fire is like 10 years old. Like,
I have no idea, admittedly.
I mean, come on, NBA Jam is from when? And that was like, you're on fire. Like,
Well, it's being used slightly different.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yep.
All right. You're several decades younger than I am.
I'm not that.
I'll
No,
take your...
that's not true. But
I'm with you though, because I just admitted to Todd during our show prep that I've actually never used Google Sheets, or like I've done it the hard way. I've always done it on like a hard Word and then uploaded it to Dropbox or emailed it to somebody. So we're working on show prep and I'm like, this is the future. He's like, this is actually the past, dude.
Josh just knocking all pegs down. Everybody, you're old.
Right?
You're pushing 50.
So, I mean, I think that Google Sheets is fire. I'm just going to throw that out there.
it's off the chain.
We're bringing it back off the chain.
Google Docs is off
I never
the chain.
got that one. So Todd, tell me, what is fire? What is the next? What is
this show is fire, and the next episode is fire. That's what's going on. And what's interesting is you talked about the seasons, having a season, and I love the idea of give one season a shot if you're not sure if you want to do a show for your business. And what we're talking about today is all the different ways that having a show will help you more successfully market your business. And so if you guys are listening and you're wondering, should I have a show? And you're like, ooh, try a season out, 8 to 12 episodes. That sounds like a good thing. Dip my toe in. Well, then our episode today is going to be a perfect listen for you, because we're going to be talking about how you can use the show to market your business.
That is so fleek.
That's on fleek.
Yes, and we're gonna be. I'm gonna use the "I love you" phrase as well, because the title of part of our segment is that if you build it, they won't come. So I love you guys. The reality is they'll only come if they know it exists. So how do you use your show to make sure that they know it exists, so that they can come to what you've built?
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I see what's going on here. You guys are just going to counter everything we say in the On Air Brands podcast. It's good. We need a debate.
This is what happens when you kick your kids out of the house.
Well, but the funny thing is that like people listening to me, because I'm 30, I'll be 37 this summer, and like
you whippersnapper.
I don't know anything that's cool now. So like whoever's listening to me is like, dude, that's like 10 years old. And I'm listening to you like that's 10 years old. And I'm like, you know, it's just our kid. I think we need to bring our kids in on one episode to let us know, you know, what the hip new slang is.
Yeah, our single-digitly aged kids.
Yes, exactly. When I heard someone say that's dope and they were young in their 20s, I go, you realize that is a word that I was using in
it came back around.
I used it when it was cool the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're still hip. Yeah. If you wear it long enough, it'll come back.
That's exactly like I haven't stopped saying dope. So like I've been cool this long.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Have you guys noticed, and some people on our team and people that we've been meeting with, the old school big ass 80s glasses are coming back. And I'm like, what is happening? The metal rim glasses that like somebody with a big thick mustache, no offense, Rob, you know, but like in his 60s would wear these big glasses, like the kids are wearing.
Used to wear them. You know,
no, like not those. I'm talking about the thin. They look like aviators. They look like aviators, but they're glasses.
Yeah,
but they're glasses, not sunglasses.
Gotcha.
I'm like, do I need to be wearing those? Is that what's trending right? That's what's fire right now.
Well, and it's so crazy because we go through, and I think that this is so important about like podcasting.
No. I love the verb.
Podmaxing, right? It's a verb. I'm podmaxing today. Yes. No, I think that's what's so important is like on the glasses thing, you think, oh my gosh, people are wearing stuff that I got beat up for wearing in high school, right? And then, but if you stay true to who you are, eventually it comes around. You guys were talking about pivoting. We're talking about marketing on our show. And the reality is if you don't align with what you're putting out on a show, it doesn't matter how good it is. It is going to drive your audience away. And so wear the glasses, no matter how cool they are. And Podmax. Podmax as a verb.
But you know, average people who record audio and publish it, they're podcasters. But when you take it to the next level, you're a podmaxer.
Yes.
You're podmaxing.
Put that on Urban Dictionary.
You're maximizing the potential and the power of podcasting.
You know what's great about podmaxing? Is that during our last event, I think it was Kyle who said towards the end of the event, as a verb, he said, I've been podmaxed, which I think is just unbelievable. So we got all these variations legitimized.
Good I love stuff. It. We're going to need our own dictionary soon. Forget the Urban Dictionary. It's going to be our dictionary, right?
How do you get the keys to edit, like in Wikipedia? Like I want to edit the Urban Dictionary and just put our own words in it.
I feel like Rob would know how to do something like that.
Get on that, Rob. We'll figure it all out. So we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing people where we are at this Real Estate Hackers Conference, June 25th in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I've been scolded by not saying it that way because most of us say Lancaster. That's not proper. And we're going to be mixing it up every Friday. So go to podmax.co/mixer, join our community, hear what's going on, share your thoughts, add value. And then we have the main event, which is coming June 11th. Buy one ticket and get another level to give away. Buy one, give one, like we like to say. So we're looking forward to your show, On Air Brands. Check it out. What episode number will they be looking for? If
today will be season 3, because we do seasons. Season 3, episode 9, onairbrands.com/show.
Wonderful. I hope we added some value in your life today. Now listen to some of our community tell you how great Podmax is.
Podmaxing.
I think everybody kind of knows or has a feeling that podcasting is like a thing, you know, it's just a matter of how it gets incorporated into their business, into their story.
Where else can you get on an event, like in person or online, and have like this collection of people? Any person that this group and this community attracts just like brings it.
There is no community like the Podmax community, guys.
I love Podmax. I love everything about this environment, this family, and every one of these events. It's just tremendous.
This is our 5th time here, and every time it just gets better and better. I mean, the relationships, the format of the event, and the opportunities to put us in front of people like David, for example.
So we're always open to having deeper and more meaningful conversations one-on-one with each and every one of you to say, all right, how do we help each other? We're all in the same game here. It's life, right? Let's just do it as best as we can and have a blast doing it.
I am just like living off the energy from my 2 interviews this morning, getting pumped for my 3rd interview.
There was just a lot of personality that was brought. There was a lot of deep conversations that I wasn't anticipating. It just created magic.
Are you an entrepreneur? Apply now to be a podcast guest at podmax.co.